I'm once again back with you, and our similar title is The Creative Nonfiction. Particularly, today we will be talking about the 5 R's, the 5 R's of creative nonfiction writing. As earlier we have explained it all about why is creative nonfiction, the significance of creative nonfiction, and this what is this utility of this genre instead of fiction. So it is a very comparative and very kind of important genre when we are discussing, because it is the latest one. The first four or three, they are the oldest one, and this is the new and latest version. So that's why every society is nowadays coming on to the memoir writing, coming on to the creativity, coming on to the natural ability skills. So while discussing these skills, the first of all is the father who developed the system of 5 R's. So let us go with one by one, and I'll giving you multiple examples over there. So starting with the first one, write about real life. Real life, I'm here bound to give you examples. For example, creative nonfiction tackles with real people, events, places, things, and actually happened or a kind of happening. You are being familiar with setting, you are familiar with character, you are familiar with theme, you are familiar with the understanding. In fiction, it is fictitious one. For example, it is the false one. I am going to give you an example from The Mystery of Marabar Caves, that is present in the third section of A Passage to India novel by Edwin Morgan Foster. So this is totally a fictitious setting. For example, in reality, it does not exist. So now, on the other hand, I am going to give you an examples of real life. For example, when we discuss when we discuss about the real life, first biography of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. It means the born, the death days, the things. For example, places like Karachi. For example, the places like subcontinent. For example, the places like bar at law from Great England. So these are real incidents. On the other hand, we can take an example from Allama Iqbal. So Allama Iqbal, once again, the Sialkot, it means the region is original. On the other hand, we may take examples from various writers. First of all, we are going to discuss about Toni Morrison. Now, Toni Morrison is a female black writer of black race, totally representing the north of America. It means the north of America is in real, is in genuine, is in means you can visualize through eyes. On the other hand, for example, Eiffel Tower, there is a setting of that. Or you can even take about the examples from Lahore historical buildings, places. So what is the clear-cut difference in it between non-fiction and fiction? Fiction is false. Fiction is fabricated. Fiction is imitated. On the other hand, non-fiction means the real person, the real event, the real place. We cannot switch the birthplace of Allama Iqbal to Lahore, because the birthplace is Sialkot and the resting place, for example, the tomb is in Lahore. So these two real fact-based conditions are applied, and we cannot mix it up with Fatma Ali Jinnah or another historical, for example, Journal Pervez Musharraf. When we are discussing about that, we are discussing about that. What on if it is fiction, you may add multiple things. You may use multiple characters. You may use 5 names of one character. So on the other hand, this is the essence of, this is the significance of, that nowadays in the world of fakeness, creative nonfiction is going to develop a habit of originality, perfection, creativity and the real things that is being going on over there. Switching towards the second R. Conduct extensive research. Learn as much as you can about your subject matter, how deepen enrich your ability to rely on the subject matter. Are you writing about your 10th birthday? Now, what were the newspaper headlines all about? Now, everybody, in reality, there is a person, there are 9 birthdays, but you are discussing about the relativity, the focus is on the 10th one, on the 10th one. You cannot add 11th one, you cannot discuss the 9th one, you cannot give examples from the 7th one. You are particularly, there is a person who is any years old, for example 10, 20, 30, amongst that person we have suggested, we have taken an example of the 10th birthday. Now at 10th birthday, for example, that person cannot have beard, that person cannot have curly hairs, that person. So this is reality. You have to create the real appearance of that. We have been discussing that Harry Potter. The Harry Potter is a series of consecutive story about that person, character, from 5 years up till now 28. But the day is increasing, the age is increasing, the features are increasing. So overall, if we notice that there are multiple changes that are being recorded, that are being accepted, that are being viewed, means visualized by time, by the people, and in the media as well, or in any kind of platform. For example, we were talking about this newspaper, the particular newspaper. So whenever, this is a record also. Nowadays we have the pictures from partition of Bengal. For example, the consequences of World War II. So it was this print media, it was this newspaper who kept a record, who kept the evidence, who kept the real time incidents that was being over portrayed with them. So moving towards with the third R, we will be focusing on. Move forward, please. So we have to go through with the next R. For example, third one is writing a narrative. Use storytelling elements to, please. For example, now there are techniques. For example, there is a persuasive technique. For example, there is a technique of journalism. For example, there is a technique of conversational tone. For example, there is a tone of monologue. There is a tone of means idealistic tone. But as far as creative nonfiction is concerned, it must be in a tale. You have been familiar with 3 terms. First one is fable, then is tale, then is short story. This all 3 things covered one thing, and that is a narrative. For example, what is narrative? A tale told by any omniscient reader, writer, or character that visualize the whole story. As far as creative nonfiction is concerned, you cannot leave partial things. For example, you have to fulfill the complete story. You cannot go on with the Aristotle's plot. Start with beginning, then go on a climax, then get a resolution, and overall end on a good notes. So this is the complete procedural parts of this essay. While mentioning any narrative, there is a complete narrative, and that narrative technique is known as a storytelling. You have been heard multiple by your grandparents, by your wise children. Even in foreigners, there are the school teachers, mentors, the nannies, the messies. They are being asked to teach a little children by narrating these stories. Because why? There is a genuine thing, that is LAD, language acquisition device, in the brain, in the mind of every individual. That device is being acted when you hear a story. We are full of stories. One is delivering, the other one is receiving, the third one is listening, and once again we are readjusting those stories with the new situations and to the new people. So this tale telling or storytelling has a long foundations, beginnings, and resolutions, and it will never ever end on these kinds, because this world is a story. When this world came into being, there are the three perspective stories. According to religious, it is the story of Adam and Eve, Hazrat Adam and Bibi Eve. On the behalf of evolution theory, for example, theory of evolution by Darwin, it shows that first we were the chimpanzees, then the gorillas, then the apes, and further transformed from that Gen Z to the human nations, or a kind of a proper human we are now. So this shows, and the third one, it is the Bang Bang theory. At once something happened on the space, and on the reaction or on the response to that, there was one world that was being reshaped, that was being created, that was the total outcome of that. So overall it is meant that everything that is being told through different stories. Now we will shift to the last R, and that is the most interesting one when we are going to wind up. So that is learn by reading. The best way to learn to write, to creative nonfiction well is, please, for example, is by reading. For reading, there are two basic things, as told by the father of essays, Sir Francis Bacon. He told that reading maketh a ready man. Reading maketh a ready man. On behalf of other theorists, they told you that when you are reading a book, it contains, for example, 6,000 words. You have gone through those 4,000 words. At the end of the day, you will be able to learn at least 50 words from there. You will be using in your spoken language as well. You will be adding out of 50, 15 words in your vocabulary writing, where you will be adding in details in your notes in for your further formal academic or the social media writings. So who is a writer? These are highly paid jobs. So why is that? The reason behind them is they are the intellectual scholars, they are the good readers. The simple phenomena is, the more you read inside your means, for example, the more you get knowledge inside of your mind, the less, for example, it will be spoken. The ratio, as far as the ratio is concerned, 10%, whatever goes in your mind, out of 10% comes out of your brain as well, through four techniques. One is spoken, the other one is written, the third one is commentary, and the fourth one is the discussion based. Why people are very good at discussions? So if I want to say that, you must be following these 5 key points. These are the 5 parameters in order to get into creative non-fiction writing, reading, expressing skills. So quickly adopt it as early as you can. If you will adopting that, so you will be facing no more difficulty in at any platform. Either it is journalism, either it is your literary studies, either it is your practical life even. The commentators are also being experienced in order to comment it. So overall, at the end, I may say that these were the great things which must be reproduced by you. Stay blessed. God bless you.